Hey, happy Thursday, everyone. And so this morning I thought maybe it would be good to check in with you on hooks, all right? And so I'm going to share some thoughts on hooks, all right? I imagine you learned hooks a long time ago, maybe even back as early as second or third grade, all right? Um, but I need your view and use of hooks to evolve a little bit here, all right? And so, in order to help you along that path, all right, I decided to share some thoughts with you. Okay, and so here are my thoughts, or just some thoughts, not all my thoughts. Here are some of my thoughts on hooks. Okay, hooks aren't something flashy. That we hang and dangle in front of our readers to get their attention. All right. I think about like the car dealerships where you drive by and you see balloons and blown up gorillas and everything else to really draw our attention there. That's not what hooks are. Yeah, that gets our attention, but that's just kind of a cheap parlor trick as far as I'm concerned. And that's not what I want hooks to be. All right. Hooks are intentional. I, as the writer, have an idea, all right, to make an impression on my reader. All right. They're techniques that allow us to do that. Okay. Think of a hook as kind of setting the stage for the entire piece of writing. Okay. And it's the idea in the hook that matters. All right. And this goes back to the idea of the intention to make an impression. Like, I am doing this because I want to make a first impression on my reader. All right. And it also allows me to establish the context. Okay. Um, of importance then too is the rehook. All right. And last semester, a lot of kids indicated to me that they really hadn't had much experience with the rehook. So I don't know what your experience has been or not been. All right. Um, but when you write for me, I will expect that you use a rehook. Okay. And we'll talk more about that later on. But basically, the idea of the rehook is it brings things full circle. It puts the idea of the hook back on stage. It is not simply repeating what we said in the hook. Okay. It is revisiting the idea of what we came up with. All right. That first made that impression or that first impression. And then there's an opportunity there to make a powerful final impression too. All right. And as I said, we'll get to that a little later in the process. Okay. This is an important one for me. Hooks aren't something we do for readers. I think that falls short of what we of their potential. Hooks are something that we do to readers. All right. And I want you to believe this. Okay. Um, we have to believe that we have the ability to influence how a reader regards our topic, how we want them to think about our topic. Okay, we've all selected a topic because it matters to us. We all have an idea about this topic. We all want to present this topic. All right, and we have the opportunity, and I believe the power. All right, to say, okay, I'm taking this topic, and with my first initial step into my writing, I am going to kind of set the stage, all right, for how I want you, reader, to think about my topic. All right. So that's how I want you to start thinking about that. And that influence begins with word one of our hook. Okay. There is power there. And I want you to imagine and use that power. And then finally, hooks are just tools in the craft of writing. And that's how I want you to think about them. They're tools. And I think that they're tools that we can use to great effect. Okay. So they're not just something to do. All right. They are something that begins the work that we are setting out to create through the creative process of writing to have an influence over our readers. Okay, and so hopefully that's how you regard them. Really quickly here. All right, I'm going to reference. Here is the hook types and definitions. Basically, what I did is I compiled 18 different hooks. The types, I gave a brief definition, and I also try to provide an example. And what I'm hoping that you're discovering is that hooks don't have to be just a single sentence. All right. Sometimes a hook can be an entire paragraph. All right. It just depends on what you're doing and what you're trying to do. Okay. Now, yesterday I also provided you with an example of a college admissions essay. All right. And I want to talk about what she did here. All right. With her hook. Okay. When I wake up to the ear splitting sound of my alarm clock and blindly search for the snooze button, a sudden thought dawns. What am I doing? All right. Here she used an anecdote as a hook type. All right. And with this, all right, she is trying to establish the idea that she's trying to establish with this anecdote is the power, all right, in the sacrifice, all right, that we make, um, the power and the sacrifices that we make in our way to accomplishing our goals. Okay. And anytime that we have to pursue goals, sometimes not anytime, but a lot of times when we have to pursue certain goals, we have to sacrifice certain things. And sleep is one of those things. And she wants us to understand that. She's trying to use some pathos here. She's trying to get us to empathize with her situation. All right, that this goal means so much to her that she's willing to sacrifice something as important and as sacred as sleep. Okay. And then importantly, she comes back to the idea of it here too. While the world slept, all right, and it's in a different way, but it's still coming back to that idea. It's like, you know what? I'm out working hard for my goals. Okay. I am making sacrifices. The world is sleeping. All right. I wake, I get up, and I work hard to attain my goal. And that's the message that she wants to send. And remember, guys, and I don't know if I talked about this enough. All right, your audience here is a college admissions essay. You are trying to make yourself stand out as a character. All right, these essays are about you, and you get to make a first and hopefully lasting impression. And hooks are great ways to get your reader's attention. All right, to make you stand out. To make you memorable, so as they're going through this pile of papers, all right, they remember to go back to Jane Smith because they remember that kid who made that sacrifice, all right, and wrote about it in such a compelling way. All right. So with that, guys, I just want you to embrace this whole process as an opportunity to grow as writers. All right. I want you to worry less about it being good. I just want you to worry about engaging with me in an opportunity to make something even better. Every time we write, we become a better writer. Okay. That's how I want you to view this. Okay. All right. I've talked long enough. Hopefully, it's going well with the essays. All right. Yes, you're going to have to revise. That's been the plan all along. Yes, you're all going to get an A on it. All right. Because I'm going to bother you until you do. So, quit worrying about your grade. Let's just worry about growing as writers. All right. Peace out, my friends.